First stadium bounce to start the second stanza. Dribble drive across the timeline.
ESPN's presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Anderson Windows. Come home to quality. Come home to Anderson. And by UPS, now offering 10:30 a.m. guaranteed overnight air delivery.
Back at the Maurice Stokes Center here in Loretto, Pennsylvania, Mike Crispino and Mike Rice with you for the Northeast Conference Championship, which has been dominated so far by St. Francis, a 47-33 lead. And Mike, I tell you what, surprised me the way they started throwing threes up from the NBA area.
8 for 9. You cannot win a basketball game when the other team shoots 8 for 9 threes from that range.
And then the turnover situation. Fairleigh Dickinson, known to handle the ball well, giving it up tonight.
Well, they've only got 6 baskets in the paint tonight. That's not nearly enough. They shoot the outside shot. They haven't been making it. They hit 4 to the boards, and look what St. Francis does. Easy 2 points down in the other end. You got to hit a couple outside shots.
57% shooting for St. Francis. Fairleigh Dickinson allows its opponents about 44% shooting, so that's a big difference in this ballgame so far. We mentioned the three-point field goals. Rebounding, Fairleigh Dickinson is doing the job so far.
Yeah, but just 8 for 9, that stat just jumps out at you in the three-point range.
Mike Isolino with 13 for St. Francis. Here's the Knights of Fairleigh Dickinson. Desi Wilson, as we expected, on top with 12. Mel Hawkins with 8. Hawkins not shooting well, though, just 3 of 10. And then on the other side of the ledger, the red flash. Mike Isolino with 13, Joe Anderson with 9. And surprisingly, the 2 guys out of the backcourt, off the bench, John Hilbert, Steve Strachan chipping in with 16.
27 points for the backcourt. That almost outscores the Knights completely.
We're back in action. Fairleigh Dickinson in the powder blue uniforms. St. Francis in the home white. Fairleigh Dickinson needs to make up a 14-point deficit here. And with their style of play, Mike Rice, that's going to take some time.
Well, St. Francis comes out in a man-to-man just to give them a different look, and it's confusing the Knights right now.
Here goes David Freeman on the drive, and the rejection that time by Mike Fink. Isolino running, looking for help on the right side. Inside to Fink, and that'll be an offensive foul call. Can't give the big man the ball that far from the hoop, right?
Well, certain big men you can. You can't give Mike Fink the ball out there. As Mike just puts the shoulder down, and not a good move by Mr. Fink.
There was a little spot on the floor that he wanted to get to.
Yeah.
However,
I watched Karl Malone do it.
He might have gotten there.
Right, yeah. And they're yelling from the bench, St. Francis bench, to Isolino not to give the big guy the ball there also. They agree with you, Mike.
All right, let's set the lineup. Mel Hawkins in the backcourt with David Freeman for Fairleigh Dickinson. That's Freeman with the ball, number 14 now. Now on the right side to Glenn Harding. Inside to Desi Wilson. His shot missed, and a rebound authoritatively by Clive Anderson.
And that's how they can get back in the ballgame. Patience, patience. If you're going to get it into Desi Wilson, have patience. If you're not, then you might as well up-tempo it and run a little bit.
Mike Isolino, number 42. Hands it now to Steve Strachan, number 10. Back outside to Tom Bennett. Now to Joe Anderson. Driving inside on the move. Hit it. Pretty shot from Joe Anderson.
Happens every time. When the three-point guys explode the first half, brings the defense out, then your slashers go to work the second.
St. Francis back up by 14, working the outside. The Knights of Fairleigh Dickinson. Mel Hawkins shot 3 of 10 in the first half. That one intercepted beautifully by Mike Fink, and Isolino's running now. Left side to Strachan. Tries to go by Hawkins, who kicked it out of bounds.
We didn't see that man-to-man defense long by the red flashes. The Knights scored against the man-to-man, so they went right back into their zone. I think to keep that middle closed, they're going to have to stay in that zone.
Isolino to inbound to Joe Anderson now. Puts it up on the baseline. Front of the rim, no. And the rebound, Mel Hawkins. He's running now. It's 3-on-2. Caught from behind. Puts it up left hand. Missed. Rebound. Desi Wilson missed the layup. I'll tell you what. Fairleigh Dickinson, who out-rebounded St. Francis 20-13 in the first half, doing the job again.
Not enough closeouts on the second shots. They did that the first half also, but you've got to make the layups.
That's where the numbers can be deceiving.
Right, look at, they're giving that outside shot.
David Freeman fouled, and you can count it.
Not a smart foul, chasing the freshman out there. They gave him the shot. Then when he gave it a little head fake, we'll see it. Little head fake, and look at that. Poor defense by Joe Anderson. And then he hits him in the head. That's not a senior that's about to break Maurice Stokes' record. He's not going to break Maurice's defensive record in this gym, that's for sure, looking at that replay.
That's the second personal on Joe Anderson, and it sends David Freeman to the line. Freeman finishes it off for a three-point play, and the lead is cut to 11. Red Flash, led by as many as 16 in the first half, opened up with an 11-2 lead and have not looked back so far. Isolino breaking pressure now, looking for help, dumps it out to Bennett, gets it back, puts it up for three, count it.
And he looks to the ref and says, I got hit, and he did. Could have been a 4-point.
16 for Mike Isolino. The only player in Division I averaging 50% from field goal range and over 80 from the free throw line.
Yeah, unbelievable. 54% from 2, 52% from 3. Those are great numbers for a 5'10 guard.
Here's Freeman again, who's got a feeling for it. Inside, Clive Anderson ripped off by Isolino, and he is fouled. Gotta like the work of Isolino that time. Snuck in, ripped it off, got fouled.
Well, they're not doing a good job boxing out in that zone, and we'll see right here, Anderson brings it down. If you can't out-rebound him, maybe you can wait for the ball to come down and steal it.
There's Jim Barron in his 4th year here. Originally an assistant with Notre Dame, has turned this program around. Their first 20-win season since 1967. The most wins by a St. Francis team since 1951-52. In the freshman year of Maurice Stokes, when they won 23. Here's Isolino from way downtown. That one may have been a little out of his range.
I hear rumors about Mr. Barron maybe going other places.
Dizzy Wilson banks it home, and a pretty move. Great body control by Desi Wilson, the senior.
And that time they got the ball inside on transition. And I think that's what Tom Green's trying to do when he pushes the ball down. They have to make better decisions. That was a good decision right there. Came to a nice jump stop. Didn't force the shot. Desi Wilson inside.
That's 2 fouls on Tom Bennett. And a 3-point play by Desi Wilson.
I think the Knights are getting back into this ballgame right now.
15 points now for Desi Wilson, an 11-point lead for St. Francis. Here's Joe Anderson. Stops and pops, misses. Good position on the rebound by Tom Bennett. Back to Anderson, and a travel violation.
Well, Jumpin' Joe is really trying to do too much now. He forced the first shot. He was double-teamed on the second one and took steps. When you got a guy like Isolino sitting out on three-point range unchecked, you got to give him the ball.
And the crowd here can sense a little bit of a move by Fairleigh Dickinson. They're trying to help their team out. The ball is loose on a steal and a jump ball. It will go St. Francis way. And we have a timeout on the court with 16 minutes remaining in the second half for the Northeast Conference Championship. St. Francis by 11. It's championship week here on ESPN, and we're at the Northeast Conference Championship, Loretto, Pennsylvania, up in the Allegheny Mountains, about 90 miles east of Pittsburgh. Mike Crispino and Mike Rice with you. And from three-point land, it's been all St. Francis, and that's one of the keys to their 11-point lead.
It should be for an NCAA bid, but they've got that silly thing called the lead-in game, and that's what this is for.
Beautiful work inside. Tom Bennett took the pass from Hilbert, used his body, and got the bucket.
And this is why you call timeouts in college basketball. High-low post. They defeated the zone. Now that was perfection.
Tom Bennett, who leads this team in field goal percentage with 58% shooting. 9.6 rebounds a game, and he completes a three-point play.
Good staff here at St. Francis. Joe Lombardi, outstanding assistant. Jim Dacca. They really work hard and to bring this program back, and it's back.
5 points for Bennett now. St. Francis bidding at least to get one step closer to their first NCAA tournament bid ever. They've been to the NIT a few times, never to the NCAA. Desi Wilson completely bottled up, has to go back to Hawkins.
and he should have threw it back right away. He's turning to the hoop. They're double teaming him. They've got to move that ball around, and then they can throw it back into him. He's a little nervous about them, I guess, throwing it back.
55-44. Here's Joe Anderson. Goes for the bank, misses. Ball is loose, and the rebound picked up by Mel Hawkins.
Now, that time, Joe had a great shot, and he is hesitant about it. Now, I think he's thinking whether he should shoot or not.
FDU working against the zone defense now by St. Francis. 14:50 left and an 11-point lead for the Red Flash. Here's Hawkins, up fakes, hands it to David Freeman, the freshman, who has turned it on tonight.
There's different ways to play that 2-3 zone. If the two front men cover the wings also, then you're protecting in the middle, and that's what St. Francis is doing.
Cross-court pass by Anderson to Isolino for the long bomb.
It's an easy game when you throw it to your star. They threw it to the star.
That's 5 3-pointers for Isolino. He's got Larry Bird-like work ethics. Shoots 100 free throws in the morning before breakfast. Comes back for 200 jumpers before practice.
He's got Larry Bird work ethics, and he's built like Muggsy Bogues. That's the problem.
He may look like a wrestler, but he shoots like a basketball player. That's for sure.
He can shoot it.
Cross court deflected by Anderson, picked up there. Glenn Harding, the shot missed, and a rebound there by Benich. 12-point lead, 13:45 left. Isolino draws the contact. I'll tell you, he's a frustrating guy to play against.
He really is. Early in the season, Mike Fink used to go out and they would set a lot of picks at the high post. Watch Isolino. He's looking for that pick right now. Now he's going to set him up, and now he goes the opposite way from the pick, and that's setting him up.
Something to learn there for young ball handlers, the way he felt the contact and then kind of fell off it and lost his rhythm to show the ref that he was bumped.
And there's that pick we were talking about out at the top.
Stops and pops. It's the Isolino show right now on a 14-point Red Flash lead.
And we said this earlier, that is the offense when you're not going well. Give it to the star.
Now the active zone by St. Francis. As FDU has been unable to make up any points here in the second half. Inside and a whistle.
You just have to, they're getting the ball into the middle, it's wide open, but then they're not swinging it back, and that's the easiest way to get it to the weak side of the zone. Throw it through the middle but they're not getting that pass back to the other side of the court.
Steve Strachan's second personal foul, 4th on the team. Inbounding Glenn Harding, the senior from Brooklyn. Cross court it goes to the freshman, David Freeman. Now Mel Hawkins, the senior, has it back. Has an FDU record of 203 assists in a season. Desi Wilson on the baseline. Nice-looking jump shot.
Desi said, I'd rather be out here. They're double-teaming me in that middle. Nice shot. I don't know if Tom Green wants him out there.
Tom Green, in his 8th year of coaching Fairleigh Dickinson, 4 times has won or shared this Northeast Conference title.
Yeah, we talked about building St. Francis program. He's built this program and kept them at the top.
Isolino!
Double pick for him. Somebody's got to switch out. No one did. That's money.
6 3-point field goals for Isolino on 7 tries. 21 points. And this crowd has erupted. Desi Wilson kicks it out of bounds. They're on their feet here at the Maurice Stokes Center, and Mike Isolino has lit them up.
Joe Anderson's going back in the game. They put him out of the game to calm him down, and that's when Isolino started bombing. Now Joe gets the picture. Let's get the ball to the ace.
They shot 8 of 9 in the first half, and they have not missed a beat in the second. Strachan handling now. Goes to Joe Anderson.
Yeah, Joe's ready to pass now. He's in the swing.
Strachan back to Isolino. Turns. Not this time. You got to miss it once in a while. And a foul called in the backcourt. Aggressive defense by Antoine Patterson. And he is called for the personal.
And I'll tell you what turns this crowd on, Mike. When Isolino starts bombing, the people really get excited here. And that's why St. Francis 15-1 on this court.
Well, I'll tell you, he's got that high arcing three-pointer, so it takes a couple extra seconds to reach there, which brings the fans to the edge of their seats. FDU has got to start getting some good shots and hit them. This is a three-point attempt and a beauty by Mel Hawkins. That's 4 for him.
Maybe the idea Tom Green had earlier, mixing in a little junk, a box and one once in a while, just to see what the rest of the St. Francis Red Flash will do.
14 points for senior guard Mel Hawkins, number 10 for the Knights. Outside Antoine Patterson now, pressured by Desi Wilson to Joe Anderson. Number 44 cuts down the baseline. He's cut off. They have to go back outside again. 20 on the shot clock.
Look at Mel Hawkins really playing nose-to-nose to Mike Izzolino.
Strachan now as they set 4 men down low on the lane. Hands to Anderson. Wants to go baseline, and an offensive foul call. Glenn Harding apparently had position. The offensive foul call with 10:59 remaining. St. Francis a 12-point lead over Fairleigh Dickinson.
We'll go back to our game in a minute, but why not drop in on a Colonial Athletic Association quarterfinal game. American William and Mary. It's a 4 versus 5 game in Richmond. Bob Rathman and Kevin Greavy have the call.
We'd like to welcome our national audience on ESPN to the Richmond Coliseum. Bob Rathman and Kevin Greavy, 62-53. American is about to move into the Colonial Athletic Association semifinals against the Richmond Spiders tomorrow afternoon. A strong defensive effort by American tonight, and they shook off, missing 14 consecutive shots here in the second half, and they are now pulling away from William & Mary with 1:31 to play.
American University was very fortunate when they went 0 for 14 there in that 8-minute span. William & Mary wasn't able to make up any room, and the defensive play was able to keep them in the game, give them an opportunity to win this ball game. And now just stepping up the line and make their free throws, they have a good chance to close the door on William & Mary and move, advance to the semifinals.
The big story in Richmond today, the fact that the #1 seed, James Madison, was upset by Navy, the 8th seed, 85-82 in overtime. The midshipmen will take on George Mason, 87-73 winners over UNC Wilmington in the first semifinal tomorrow. Richmond eliminated East Carolina 86-62. Donald Grant goes 1 for 2 at the line, 63-53. American by 10 and a minute and a half to play. The Eagles finishing with a flourish on an 8-0 run. Jensen down the lane, rolls it in. And William & Mary uses its final timeout to stop the clock with 1:21 to play.
So the semifinals look set in the Colonial Athletic Association. Now back to the Northeast Conference, where the title is up for grabs. Fairleigh Dickinson and St. Francis in Loretto, Pennsylvania.
Mike Crispino and Mike Rice here at the Northeast Conference Championship in Loretto, Pennsylvania, home of the Red Flash of St. Francis. And they have a 12-point lead with under 10 minutes remaining, bidding it for their first ever NCAA tournament bid. Of course, they'd have to get by Fordham next Wednesday if they win this game, their first ever national television appearance. And so far, they have treated the 3,500 to an excellent basketball game. Anderson Joe off balance, deflected, running. Fairleigh Dickinson 3-on-2. Hawkins pulls it out, hands it off for the layup.
Yeah, a good idea by Tom Green. They're picking up the pace now. The zone offense isn't getting much benefit, so now they're going to try to run a little.
You get the feeling that the way Tom Green is coaching this game, Mike Rice, that he wants to get it within 2 or 3 late in the game and hopes to pull one off. But inside, and a great move by Tom Bennett.
Well, I'm impressed by St. Francis. Even with the lead, they're not holding the ball and becoming too cautious. They're attacking that half-court zone press.
2 conference champions will be crowned as championship week continues Sunday night, March 3rd at 7:30 Eastern, live on ESPN, 7:30 Southern Conference Championship, followed by the American South Conference Championship at 9:30 Eastern here on ESPN. Tom Bennett will go to the line to shoot 2 and try to complete, or shoot 1 rather, and try to complete a 3-point play. He's got 7 tonight, averaging 9. Likes to mix it up inside, does Bennett. High arcing shot is off the back of the rim, and he cannot complete the 3-point play. 9 minutes minutes now left, and Fairleigh Dickinson trails by 12. Corner jumper, Desi Wilson. Isolino had rebounding position, but David Freeman went over him. Ball knocked loose. Isolino has it. Down the baseline and hammered here. An offensive foul call. And nearly a technical foul on Isolino.
Well, I have to see this one again. I think the defender steps in the way. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's...
Isolino could not believe the official would call such an offensive foul. He had no room to go anyway.
After looking at the replay, I think Isolino's right.
Back in his own, the St. Francis red flash. And a 12-point lead at 67-55. They led it 11-2 by 16 in the first half. Inside it goes, and a foul called.
Now, that time, Mike, the ball went from one side of the court to the other. They spread the zone out, and they went a little deeper into the corner, and they got the ball in the middle.
That's a problem for John Hilbert of St. Francis, his 4th personal foul. Mike Isolino heads to the bench to take a quick break here with 8:27 remaining to be played in this game.
Remember, we mentioned they were 17 up on Pitt in the second half. Lost that ball game. They had a 16-point lead on Duquesne and almost lost that one. So sometimes the starters on this St. Francis team get a little tired going down the stretch. Although Jim Barron really has substituted well early in this game. I don't think they'll get tired.
20 points for Desi Wilson. He cannot connect on the 21st, and the lead is 9. 11, 67-56. Down in the corner, Joe Anderson for the jump shot. Nails it. Anderson following through beautifully. Now has 15 points.
Key time now for the Knights. They have to get into that lead with 8 minutes left.
They trailed by 14 at half, 47-33, and but only been able to cut 1 point off the lead. David Freeman dumps it to Desi Wilson. Steps in. Foul call, a travel call. I'll tell you what, Wilson is being hit each time he gets the ball by 2 or 3 men. That time, knocked him off balance, and a travel call. 7:52 left. Tom Green and Fairleigh Dickinson trails by 13 for the Northeast Conference Championship.
He makes the catch.
379 in the corner.
Once again this season, if it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
Hi, everyone. Join me and Chris Berman for Sports Center. At 11:30 Eastern Time, we'll take a look at a great day in college basketball. We'll have the NBA action and the National Hockey League as well. All the day's doings in sports when Berman and Mees get together on Sports Center coming up.
Thank you, Tom. South Florida leading UNC Charlotte in the Sun Belt quarterfinal game. Amid published reports tonight that both these schools will be invited to join the Metro Conference. The Metro loses 4 members after this year, needs to add 2 more to have a total of 6 and keep their NCAA bid. We'll keep you posted. Now back to Mike and Mike.
Championship week here on ESPN, the Northeastern Conference Championship. Mike Crispino and Mike Rice with you, and the white-clad red flash of St. Francis with a commanding 69-56 lead here with under 7.5 minutes remaining to be played. Fairleigh Dickinson on the road trying to win at St. Francis, which is a very difficult task. Has not been able to do it, Mike. And, you know, the interesting thing is we've seen a flip-flop in statistical information. Field goal percentage. Fairleigh Dickinson shoots very well during the season, 51, just 42 tonight. St. Francis, on the other hand, 60%, while FDU is holding their opponents to 44% shooting.
Well, St. Francis, this is the 3rd time they've played. They know what they want to do with their zone against Desi Wilson, and they've been pretty successful. And in an offense, you know, if you look at a shooting chart of St. Francis, they had 7 outside baskets from the right side of the court, and that's Isolino. He really likes to pump it going right and stop and shoot. They didn't have a basket on the left side of the court in the first half.
1 of 2 for Antoine Patterson. And St. Francis has shot 10 of 16 from three-point land. They're one of the best in the nation at 43%, but they've topped that tonight at 10 of 16. The lead 14 as Desi Wilson tries to go baseline. It goes in, but they won't count it as Patterson put the handcuffs on him 10 feet from the hoop.
Anytime the ball gets from one side of the court to the other, the Knights do well in their zone offense. When they keep it on one side of the court, that 2-3 zone just packs in, stops everything.
So St. Francis, a team that is not known for their defensive prowess, has done the job so far tonight. With 7:15 remaining, a 14-point lead. Desi Wilson misses the first, but the rebound comes long to freshman David Freeman. And back in the hands of number 10, Mel Hawkins. Corner to McLean. They go back out to Hawkins, who has been pumping three-pointers all night. Has hit 4. Here's Freeman with a jump shot, and he has had it going tonight. A three-pointer, his first of the game.
You know, on the year, he shoots 42%, so Mr. Freeman, the freshman, has come to shoot.
10 points for David Freeman. He averages only 5 a game. Strachan now hands it off to Joe Anderson, looking to go one-on-one. Now Isolino, guarded by David Freeman. So Freeman has played good offense and had to contend with this guy, Mike Isolino, all night long. Izzy now looking behind the back. Inside, dumps it off. Shot missed, and the rebound by McLean, off and running. Fairleigh Dickinson. Hawkins, oh, the layup missed. A bomb from McLean.
That's why they missed the layup. They wanted that three-pointer.
Brad McLean now with 12 points. He's the three-point artist off the bench. 6 minutes. And an 8-point lead. This is the closest Fairleigh Dickinson has been since midway in the first half.
Big possession right here for momentum.
Strachan working on Freeman now. Outside, he's open. Joe Anderson got it.
Jumping Joe. He said, I took some bad ones earlier, but everything is okay now with Coach Barron.
18 points for Joe Anderson. He averages 21 a game. Here's Desi Wilson. Triple team. Baseline. Off balance. Contact. No call. And the rebound, Antoine Patterson. And now he'll dribble it a little. Ahead to Anderson. Cuts it inside. Scoops and hits it.
Look out, Maurice Stokes. Jumping Joe only needs 2 more games. At this pace, he'll be the all-time leading scorer in St. Francis history.
And this crowd is on fire. They can smell it. McLean from way downtown. The rebound long, loose. Picked up by David Freeman, the freshman, and a foul called on Steve Strachan. Strachan's third personal foul. That's the 9th team foul. Under 5 minutes remaining, and St. Francis, should they hold to a 13-point lead and win this game, would win their first Northeast Conference championship and then earn the right to play Fordham right here on this court next Wednesday.
Yeah, and it'd be a big game for both schools. Fordham, of course, they went to the NIT the last 2 years, the pre-NIT this year. They have some big wins this year. Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. They beat Seton Hall, Xavier, Dayton. So a very, very capable team, the Rams.
St. Francis has wins over Virginia Commonwealth and a close, tough loss to UAB earlier in the year, 71-16. And as you mentioned, the game with Pittsburgh here, looking back on it, could have been theirs.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. The whole conference has played well this year, Northeast Conference.
Isolino with a hook shot. It doesn't go in. The scramble for the loose ball, and St. Francis has it. They'll pull it back out.
They're going to start fouling a little bit more now with this aggressive defense.
Strachan's going to shoot it from there. And the rebound, Clive Anderson. Not the shot that Coach Jim Barron wanted right there. Desi Wilson into the teeth of the defense. Rebounded by David Freeman. Bodies flying everywhere. Out of bounds it goes. Fairleigh Dickinson ball.
Very physical game because the Knights are really trying to get second possessions each time, and against that zone, no one's boxing out. So it's almost 9 or 10 people going after every rebound.
We have seen a lot of contact in this ball game, and you have to give the officials credit. They've done a nice job of letting the players get involved without blowing the whistle too often.
I agree with you. I think it's a well-officiated game.
75-64, 4:13 remaining. St. Francis red flash in the home white, leading Fairleigh Dickinson by 11. Regular season co-champions. They split the season series 1 apiece. Last year on this court, Fairleigh Dickinson won by 3 in the quarterfinals. Here's David Freeman again.
Backline of St. Francis does a good job of passing people from one part of the zone to the other.
We may be seeing the evolution of a fine guard for Tom Green tonight. David Freeman, the freshman, with 13 points, 8 above his regular season average.
And he's played well defensively when he was on Isolino.
Here's Isolino, number 42, with the ball.
We'll see his quickness now.
Pulls up, puts it up, misses everything. Rebound Fink. And it's good.
Mike Fink, in his last playoff game, had 18 points and 11 rebounds, and none were bigger than that.
Every time St. Francis needs a key play, they're getting it down low from guys like Fink and Benich.
And that's the defense pressuring out, trying to stop Isolino, opens everything up.
Mike Fink will go to the line to try to complete a three-point play. He's only a 61% free throw shooter. 6'7", 200-pounder. This is Tom Benich, number 24, getting set to report in. He'll replace number 35, Antoine Patterson.
And the inside people, Benich is their blue-collar guy. He's a really banger, and they bring in Patterson and Fink. They keep the inside line fresh. And as long as you have number 42 outside, everything is fine for the Flash.
We talked about the rebound battle before the game, and we said Fairleigh Dickinson, a great rebounding team. Should they win the battle of the boards, would probably win the game. It's not working out that way. St. Francis, with 3:27 remaining, has a 12-point lead in the Northeast Conference Championship. We'll be back.
Our weird fact of the day, all 4 Missouri Valley Conference quarterfinal games decided by the same margin as Southern Illinois. Creighton beats Drake, Southwest Missouri State beats Bradley, and Tulsa beats Wichita State, all by 19 points. Bizarre coincidence or something more, fellas?
Mike Crispino and Mike Rice here in Loretto, Pennsylvania, where the St. Francis Red Flash are holding to a 12-point lead with 3:10 remaining to be played on the strength of the 11 three-pointers, an NEC tournament record. Mike Isolino, the main culprit, with 6 of them. That ties the tournament record. Should they hold on to win, they'd be 1 step away from their first ever NCAA tournament bid. They'd have to host the Fordham Rams, who had a tremendous game with Holy Cross this afternoon in Worcester that went to overtime. How about Holy Cross having to play overtime the previous night, come back by noon, warming up again, and play another overtime?
Yeah, they're difficult tournaments, those early tournaments. Holy Cross, the 4th seed in that, and it would have been much better if they could have gone in as 1st seed and you get the night off. That's the bonus you have. Of course, it was on their home court, so that was a little advantage also. I thought it was a great game.
Tom Benich, 6'5" senior, hits both of them. And now Benich has 9. And with just over 3 minutes remaining to be played, the lead is 14. And that's the way it was at halftime. 47-33, St. Francis. They came out, they took command early. Isolino firing three-pointers. Desi Wilson dives inside, and he is hit.
Well, they brought McClain in to shoot some three-pointers. They took Freeman out. They lose a little defense. But right now, Tom Green says, I need some big baskets. I need people to get off Desi Wilson. So McClain's going to have to shoot some threes.
It's Mike Fink's 3rd personal, 10 on the home team, St. Francis. As Desi Wilson knocks down the first of 2 free throws.
Be interesting later on when they start picking the NCAA teams to see the Georgetowns and everything, how they will end up in the NCAA.
Shot missed and the rebound taken off by St. Francis. Here's John Hilbert. Look out. Coming up after this ball game, Sports Center with Chris Berman and Tom Mees. They'll have all the highlights from NCAA play today, the NBA, all around the sports world.
Tom Mees knows all about that Big 8 game. He worked it last last year with me coming up, Utah and Brigham Young. Sean Bradley, what a force he's going to be. He's going away for 2 years on a mission. And I don't know how that'll affect. Maybe he'll get a little heavier.
Hopefully he'll find a few restaurants to eat in on his trip.
He'll be a great player before he's done.
This is John Hilvert at the line, and he has the first of 2. Hilvert, a 75% free throw shooter. The team shoots 75%. So down the stretch, St. Francis has been very good from the free throw line. Hilvert has them both. He had a good first half with 10 points, and he's added a couple here, and the lead is 15.
Hilbert can shoot. When they overplay Isolino, he's the guy they go to.
Now they're looking strictly for three-pointers. They go inside, back out to Hawkins. The fake, the shot, the miss. Battle on the boards, rebounded by Fairleigh Dickinson. The scramble. And the Red Flash have it. Here's Isolino now, dashing between 4 defenders, and a foul call. And these fans can sense it.
How about that coach Jim Barron playing 3-on-3 the day of the championship game? He was pretty relaxed.
It looked like he was showing him a few moves. You see that baseline move in there?
He shot a lot. I think that's where Joe Anderson gets all that.
St. Francis 15 of 19 from the line tonight.
What a turnaround in a program, and that's what we said. They were so patient. They didn't panic and go out and get people that couldn't help their program in 4 years. It was a gradual thing, and that's how you build a Division I program.
Mike Isolino on the line for the second of 2. He's the blood and guts of this team. Has them both. And Fairleigh Dickinson, down by 17, can see the handwriting on the wall. You can just see it in the faces of these kids. McLean with a long three-pointer. Nails it.
Well, they brought him in for that, and he's doing it.
Brad McLean now, 13 points. Here's John Hilbert working through the defense. Isolino beats his man as they run it out. Down low it goes. Back outside to Joe Anderson. And St. Francis has done exactly what they wanted to do. Up-tempo the game, run, gun, and has an 84-70 lead with 1:56 remaining.
Joe Lombardi, the assistant coach of the Red Flash, didn't know how they'd play in their new black gym shoes. He said, we're kind of slow as it is, and I don't know if they'll make us any slower, but not doing a bad job. There's the big guy going out of the game.
Mike Isolino gets a rest, and that'll be the last we see of him, I would think. 6 3-point field goals for Isolino. 26 points overall.
I don't know if those New Yorkers from Fordham can find Loretto, Pennsylvania, but if they do, it'll be Wednesday.
They can call me for directions.
Yeah, you took every road getting here.
John Hilbert with the free throw and a 16-point lead. Well, they came out of the woodworks up here in the Allegheny Mountains, a little town of 2,000. They've got 3,500 crammed into this gymnasium as Glenn Harding hits a three-pointer.
Boy, Kevin Southard really did a great job. Carmine Pacenza, the SIDs, helping us get ready for this game.
Joe Anderson controlling, and he is fouled by Mel Hawkins. His third personal. Mel Hawkins, the senior, number 10, among the nation's leaders in assists. Right about this time, when you're about to lose a game like this, Mike Rice, you start to think about your future, I would think. As a senior, there's not going to be another basketball game, most likely.
Great career for Desi Wilson. Glen Cove, New York. He's been on all NEC for 3 years and really has had a great career along with Mel Hawkins. Hawkins, just from Philadelphia Roman Catholic, has done a great job in his career.
Joe Anderson has them both, and what a consistent career Joe Anderson has had. started 110 of 112 games since arriving here in Loretto. Long three-pointer is no good. Battle on the boards, and it's St. Francis ball. And in 108 of those 113 games, Joe Anderson's been in double figures. Now, that's consistency.
Right. The conference will be strong again next year. Robert Morris, so they were ineligible this year with Andre Boyd. Trouble with the NCAA, but they have a lot of juniors, so there's a club that's going to be very strong. St. Francis had a good recruiting class, and Tom Green has a outstanding young man sitting out this year, and his name is Terry Carter. And so they're going to reload again quick.
And the way David Freeman played tonight, the freshman guard, it looks as if he's going to have a strong backcourt.
Once again, that home court means everything in the Northeast Conference. They're tough to beat on their home courts.
How do you size that matchup up? Fordham and St. Francis. Fordham, to me, has much more strength.
Yeah,
size inside.
Lopez blocks a lot of shots. They're going to have to get some outside scoring with that zone, but they're a patient team. Nick McCarchick has done a great job building that Fordham program up. Back-to-back 20-game wins.
And what about that quarterback he has in the backcourt? What's his name? Rice? There it is. A beautiful reverse that time by McLean. Brad McLean for two. And there's a timeout on the court. Minute 13 remaining. St. Francis 90-75. And we'll be back to Loretto, Pennsylvania for the final of the Northeast Conference after these messages here on ESPN. ESPN Championship Week, and we're about to crown a champion in the Northeast Conference. St. Francis of Pennsylvania, the Red Flash, led by the tournament MVP, Mike Izzolino. Coming up right after this game, Sports Center with Chris Berman and Tom Mees. All the highlights from the NCAA, the NBA, and all around the world of sports right here on ESPN. Izzolino with 28 tonight, 25 against St. Francis, New York. And Nick McCarchick right now has got to be thinking, what are we going to do about this guy, Izzolino?
He's a really outstanding shooter. The pro scouts have been here. 12 of them have scouted him so far. He really can pull the trigger on that three-point play, and when they start running him off of those picks out at the top of the key, he makes great decisions on whether to shoot it outside, go off, so Fordham will have their problems with him.
91-75, Fairleigh Dickinson, the regular season co-champion, being blown out of here now by the Red Flash. An impressive first half and a 14-point lead, and they've maintained it. McLean hitting. Brad McLean for two. And Tom Green wants to call another timeout for Fairleigh Dickinson with 54 seconds remaining to be played.
Yeah, I think that probably is the last timeout for the Knights, and without timeouts, there's no such thing as a 12-point play in college basketball.
Well, Tom Green came out of Syracuse. You're looking at Jim Barron right there talking to his team, but Tom Green out of Syracuse in his 8th year now at Fairleigh Dickinson. He's taken his team twice to the NCAA. One memorable appearance in '85.
Michigan.
That 2-point, or was it 4-point loss to Michigan? We're set to go back to the studio now. An update with Chris Fowler.
Okay, fellas, thanks very much. That Sun Belt quarterfinal game has tightened up. UNC Charlotte and South Florida tied at 68 apiece, just 2:40 to go as Charlotte roars back. Go back now to St. Francis, the closing minutes of the Northeast Conference Championship game, fellas.
Maurice Stokes Center here in Loretto, Pennsylvania, way up in the Allegheny Mountains, and they are ripping and roaring tonight. The TD pass caught by John Hilbert. St. Francis about to win their first Northeast Conference Championship, and we got a timeout called here by Izzolino. I don't know. Let's ask the coach, Mike Rice. Why did he call that timeout?
They're on national TV.
Oh,
hey,
that's it.
How many times are the Flashes going to be on national TV? They wanted to stretch. Let that WAC team wait in Utah.
It's their first ever national television appearance for the Red Flash. The Maurice Stokes Center. 3,500 are crammed in right behind us. Earlier tonight, they came over for your autograph, several of them. And it took you out of the mix for a while, but that's the way it goes.
Those were people that want me to sign a check. I owe money up here from last time I was here.
8 years a coach with Duquesne. You played in this arena a couple times. You're Nick McCharchuk coming in next Wednesday. What's he got to beware of?
It's a good crowd. They'll be real excited. They're going to have to make some outside shots against the zone. They're going to have to get the ball in, and they're going to have to compete with those people.
They're going to have to keep the Red Flash fans uninvolved if they can. Don't forget, tonight at midnight Eastern, a Western Athletic Conference battle between number 9 Utah and Brigham Young coming up right here on ESPN.
Let's see if they call another timeout.
A 14-point lead, and Isolino is fouled.
No comment.
Frustration on the face of Mel Hawkins, and Fairleigh Dickinson really could not get into this game from the beginning. The opening tap went up. St. Francis jumped off with a couple of three-pointers and never looked back.
I can imagine Penn State right now. They play Duquesne tomorrow in that Atlantic 10 conference. They could use this young man that played for them back 4 years ago, Mike Isolino.
Mike Isolino has been selected the MVP of this Northeast Conference Championship. A substitution now, and a couple of them. Willie Smith replaces Joe Anderson. As you look at Isolino on the free throw line.
I thought Joe Anderson played a much better second half. He stayed within the concept of the team and probably was the reason they pulled away his shot selection.
Well, when they needed an athletic move or two, the defensive pressure was stepped up by Fairleigh Dickinson. Anderson delivered. And Fairleigh Dickinson, a team that is used to allowing just 69 points a game, has allowed 93 tonight. McLean again.
Well, they had one more timeout I didn't know about, Mike. And they're taking it right now. But they're not going to go to the sideline. They're going to just stop the clock and put the pressure on. And that's saying something.
McLean has been hot from three-point land. He's just a junior, so he'll be back to play a little forward, a little guard for Tom Green next year. So Fairleigh Dickinson looks like they'll be in some pretty good shape, although up front they'll be losing Desi Wilson, one of the all-time greats at that school and in this Northeast Conference.
Yeah, and the conference looks like it's going to stay the same. Maris was leaving last year, and it's a good conference. They're very competitive.
Early in the decade, LIU dominated, then Maris in the middle 80s with Rick Smits. And then later on, Robert Morris, and now St. Francis about to win their first ever Northeast Conference championship. Don't forget, following this game, Sports Center, Chris Berman, Tom Mees.
I imagine Chris will have a few things to say about all these timeouts and fouls at the end of the game.
Mike Isolino, MVP of the tournament.
Down at the far end of the court, I see a lot of young people
with painted faces
that look like they're going to run onto this court.
You think they're coming towards us?
I think they really were hungry for this for a long time. St. Francis, as we said, historically, Norm Van Leer, there's Isolino going off.
And he gets a big hug from his coach, Jim Barron, and you can see they love him up here in Loretto. 32 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds for Mike Isolino. The scramble here at half court, still keeping it alive, and it's football at its best. Throwing up for his first bucket, Dion George is fouled.
Well, Tom Green said before the game, if it's in the 60s, we'll win it. It's in the 90s. South Florida winning a close one over Charlotte, 70-68.
95 points given up by Fairleigh Dickinson tonight as Joe Anderson celebrates with the crowd right behind the St. Francis bench.
Joe did a great job second half.
Anderson, the senior. There are 5 seniors playing for Jim Barron. He starts 4 seniors and 1 sophomore.
Great ending to that Navy-James Madison game today. I'm sure the highlights will be on Sports Center.
As lefty Drizel.
Ooh,
Lefty Drizel fails to make the NCAA tournament. A couple of last-minute substitutions for players who don't see much action coming into the game now. Number 33, Tony Robinson for Fairleigh Dickinson. And Mel Hawkins stops by the St. Francis bench to congratulate Jim Barron and company. David Freeman will take Desi Wilson, who is thoroughly exhausted as he leaves, and congratulates Joe Anderson.
They've battled for 4 years. A good feeling between the two of them.
2 fine players, Desi Wilson, Joe Anderson. On the line, Dion George, a freshman from Quebec. Gets a little excitement. He can tell the folks at home, hey, I scored a point in the tournament game. Hey, I scored 2.
That beats you and I's tournament record.
Of Pennsylvania, led by that man Mike Isolino. 32 points. Jim Barron congratulating Tom Green and the red flash. Love their St. Francis of Pennsylvania team. 97-82. No problem tonight for the Red Flash. Mike Rice?
Loretto, it was a big win for Jim Barron.
Pleasure working with you. This is Mike Crispino saying goodbye from Loretto now to ESPN Sports Center, Chris Berman and Tom Mees.
ESPN's presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beer, who reminds you, friends know when to say when, and by your local independent ERA real estate specialist.
$9877 for a 1-year subscription to Bowling Magazine.